And we are back for the modding series, guys. Welcome back to Fort Mort. I do want to make one correction. It's a slight one, but 99% of that video for Genos and Soldier was right. But I did say that you could add potency as the last stat when you really don't need any potency. So it was a minimal mistake. The odds of you getting 5 of everything you want on a mod are slim to none anyway. But I do want to point out on the Soldier, his potency is actually null and void because he can't evade. So you can add defense or something along that line as the 5th stat. So my apologies. I can admit when I'm wrong. Thank you to DJ Scrim for pointing it out. I appreciate you guys. Anything that you find or want to have a discussion about, let me know down below, because I am not perfect. I am human. And trying to shoot these videos and being right all the time is, well, you know me. I'm not right all the time. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. We are about to do some amazing, amazing work right here.
We are about to go through some amazing characters in the solos. In the solo factory, we've got Enfys Nest, we've got Kylo Ren, and we've got the Womps. The Womps. He's great stuff. All right, guys, tell you what.
That's enough of that. All right, so going into this, guys, I want to talk about it was brought up, CLS, Vader, Gas, all these guys, but honestly, you don't need to remod those guys for solos. They can do work in solo if you're bringing them against the right team. You want them modded and kitted to work inside of teams. So we're only going to go against the characters. We're going to go with the characters that actually do good work in solos, and you're going to do it on a regular basis. And more than ever, people used to tell me, oh, it's 7, 8, 9 million. You don't need Nest anymore. Yeah, now you might, because obviously maybe not 9 million, but it's the bar is raised because you're putting so many teams on defense now. It's crazy. So now that means you need more on defense, more on offense. You need more teams. And I can't tell you how many times I was able to put DR in defense because I knew I had Nest that could take out a Padme that didn't have a C-3PO in it. So we'll get into why you don't do C-3PO, hopefully, if I don't forget. But anyway, let's start talking about Nest. One of the things I want to point out about modding in this entire series, if you guys notice this button right here, the advanced, if you actually go and click on that, basic modding tips. 80% of the time, the game recommendation is pretty good. In this one, it's terrible. Save your speed mods for good characters. She doesn't have to be fast. Is that negotiable? Yes, there are certain scenarios where Nest needs to be fast, like an Abando team. My boy Wolf showed me that. But I like her slow because she beefs up encounters. So the slower she is, the more bonus protection she builds. We'll get into that. But anyway, there is that. If you're ever confused, there's that. There's a lot of other places. Gamingfans.com is a great place that I go. That's what early on is where I was learning from. And now you can actually go to GG. I'll actually show you guys this right now. Hang on. Let me bring that up. That's the wrong one. Here we go. Right here. If you go to SWGOH.gg and then you find the character you're looking for in particular, let's say Ahsoka Tano. Let's click on her. Right here it says best mods. Best mods. If you click on this, this is what people in the game are using right now and a percentage of what people are using. Doesn't mean it's right, but it's a good starter one. I don't agree with them all, but it actually tell you what right here, offense, 3,030, 61% are using an offense cross. Best circle, health, speed, best arrow, crit damage, 64%. There are some things I could argue on this, but that option is there for you to utilize, so that's a great tool as well. And again, you just go to the site, click on best mods, and you're good to go. All right. So, yes, I've done my homework for this. I feel like I know the game pretty well, but I also want to make sure that I'm giving out quality information. So I go and I study, and I figure it's good for me because there's 200 some characters to learn these kits because I'm going to forget half of it anyway. All right. So let's get into this. Let's go into Enfys Nest kit and explain how it works. Then I'll show you my mods. That was requested for these videos too. I'm trying to move so they're not too long so you guys can see it. Basic, deal physical damage to target enemy and expose them for 1 turn. Expose means more damage. If the target had any defensive buffs, dispel them. This attack cannot be evaded, aka you cannot dodge it, so Foresight cannot stop her from going through it with a basic. Defensive buffs include defense, health, protection, evasion, tenacity up, as well as taunt, stealth, foresight, heal over time, and crit immunity. You 100% cannot evade it. Let's see here. Let's go to the stun. This is the stun ability. Deal physical damage to target enemies, stun them for 1 turn, and inflict buff immunity, which is a beautiful thing as well. especially if you're trying to keep a tank from taunting. But with her, if you got the Zeta, which we'll go over in a minute, you can go around the taunt, so it doesn't even matter. But you can stop maybe a healer or some massive damage dealer or somebody like Anakin who's trying to drop a healing immunity on Nest, which is bad. If that target had any protection, this attack deals 50% or more damage and ignores armor. If that attack had any protection, if that target had any protection, this deals 50% more damage and ignores armor. That's a beautiful attack right there. Kinetic Charge. This is her AoE. Deal physical damage to all enemies. Daze them for 2 turns. Daze means that you cannot counter. You cannot counter, which is also Nest's biggest enemy as well. That's her kryptonite. Daze them for 2 turns. Remove 20% turn meter, which I'm not a real fan of this because I want my slow Nest being attacked, but that's okay. It's only 20% from each enemy that had full health, and gain 40% turn meter for each enemy with less than full health. So if you've got him below health, Nest actually gets faster, which again, doesn't hurt you, but I'm not a fan of it either. This attack can't be countered and it can't be evaded. Okay. And so that's actually pretty cool because even if you don't land the daze, it can't be countered. That's the way I'm reading it, right? Fighting Instinct. This is with the Zeta. So if I pull the Zeta off, the Zeta actually adds add ignore taunt and 2% health steal. These are both freaking huge for her to be doing work. When an enemy loses 2% health steal stacking when an enemy loses a buff or a debuff. So she removes buffs and she adds debuffs. So she's going to be constantly stacking health. And her health, in essence, keeping her alive for her to ramp up and deal more damage. This is where she's a beast. The longer she goes, you'll see she'll be hitting soft. 3 or 4 minutes in, she is hitting like a semi-truck. Let's see. So health is key on Nest. More the merrier. 40% of her health goes to her bonus protection. Keep this in mind, guys. I forget this sometimes too. Bonus protection is based off of their health pool. So if you've got 100k health, you're going to get 40% of that health added to bonus protection. That's 40,000 for each time she gets hit. I mean, if you get Nest to 100,000, you're a god. But still, the point is I'm trying to do easy math. She gets an extra 40,000 each time she gets hit by somebody. All right, Potency is a good stat to have on her, which we'll get into. I'll actually add that. I'll show that for a second here. We want to get into the mods. But those are my recommendations right here. And another thing you want to with her is her Potency lands the stun, the expose, the buff immunity, and the daze. The key to solo battles, you have to avoid characters that can drop Tenacity down, because if they can drop her Tenacity, it becomes almost useless. So you want to avoid characters like that. Like if Zombie with the Night Sister is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass for one. If she can drop it. Daze, obviously she can't counter anymore. That's a problem. Stun is okay. It doesn't really overly affect you because they're going to be hitting bonus and protection. But if you get stunned and somebody who's hitting under protection is knocking your health down, that stun could be crucial. It could kill you. And anyone, I just gave you tips on how to kill Nest, by the way. Anyone that stops her from countering, aka Kyle Katarn. Kyle Katarn you cannot counter against. So in a Mon Mothma team, there are a few combos that you don't want to mess with, and one of them is Kyle Katarn. Speed or no speed on Nest has been arguable. People say speed not. I've talked about that before, but I prefer slow because that lets her build up, and she's going to counter every single person as long as she doesn't have daze or stun. Excuse me, I prefer, like I said, she just sits back. Nest now, again, is, in my opinion, is a monstrous character, and I highly suggest relicking her now over the past because we need so many teams. All right, let's go over the mods, guys. Oh, one other thing I want to point out, too, if anybody tries talking you into doing speed on her, don't put speed mods on her. If you want to add secondary speed, that's fine. Save your speed mods for other characters. All right, Tenacity is the basis here. I've got protection 4.1%, which isn't... I don't like protection on this character because your health comes... Your bonus protection comes from your health pool. Some protection's okay, but try to minimalize it as much as you can. A lot like Vandor. So with mine in particular, I would like... She's got decent tenacity here. Offense is good. Crit chance is actually decent, but it's not 100%. Like you can see, it's 5th in line on my sheet up here. Tenacity 5.58. Offense 4.01. Huge. Health pool 983. I wish that was percentage once she goes to Relic. Speed, unnecessary in my opinion. Tenacity, 6.8%. Defense is not bad on her. Again, protection, but the key one here is the 16% health with the 6E mod. Actually, let me get rid of this for a second. I'm sorry. There was the square. My bad. Then we'll go back down here to the plus sign. This one's a beauty, an absolute beauty. 35% tenacity on tenacity with offense percentage, offense itself, health. I wish it was percentage. It would be even better. And then a high potency percentage, which is nice because I really needed the boost. And then crit damage is the clutch one with the triangle. I don't care what you say. Crit damage is 100% the way to go on a triangle. Speed doesn't matter here to me. Tenacity is huge. Again, flat offense, which sucks. But it's 150. That's a decent size because you want offense percentage at relic levels. And then health pool. And then this one's controversial too, offense or health. The fact is, if I put a health mod on her that I have right now, I don't have a feasible one, she will drop to 152% rather than 170% tenacity. And her, trying to think, her offense drops like 700. So this one, even though it's got protection on it, is still better because it's got the high tenacity and the defense and mainly the offense and the main tenacity stats. So this is not the greatest geared nest in the world. Here's her stats. Again, 195 speed, crit damage 205, potency 47%. I would like this potency higher. Tenacity's about where I like it. Health still obviously is not going to change, and the damage is where I like it. So it's a good number right there. And then when you guys talk about soloing teams, Padme is one, but you got to be careful about who you use for that. You start talking about a Padme team, it gets a little bit difficult with Barriss because the crit damage issue. And then you've got C-3PO is dropping the translation, I believe it's called. She can't counter when she's wearing that. And typically C-3PO's got over 110% potency on most squads. In that case, you may want to consider a farm boy in the lead. If you can get it over 100% more tenacity than potency, then you can beat a C-3PO team with farm boy lead. Outside of that, I wouldn't even try it. There are other great teams. I mean, you got the Ewoks, as long as the potency on Logray isn't very high. If he's in the 110, 120 range, it could get dirty. You more than likely still will win, but there Phoenix are one. There's plenty of teams that you can solo with this beautiful girl. In the meantime, guys, this one ran a little long, but I also wanted to point out a lot of good tips with Nest. If you guys got any questions, if you got any comments on how that works, but the key points with her is health and tenacity with her in particular. Here's the big screen. We go through this. Relic priority, I give her a 10. It wasn't always a 10, but because she saves me a full team on offense and defense, I gave her a high priority. Oh, one more thing I want to cover with her too. Sorry. I keep forgetting to cover this with you guys, but mastery. When you get into relic levels, they boost their mastery, and her mastery is crit chance, crit damage, and damage. So her special damage is useless. She's all physical damage. This is a huge boost to her. So she's one of the rare characters where all three of her masteries actually are good for her. Going over the circle, you're looking at health, in health, priority, or offense. So it depends on where you're sitting with your mods. Crit damage is always the priority. If you do not have a good crit damage one, put health. Cross should be tenacity. Some people may even add potency. I could put that into play, but I prefer the tenacity. Secondary stats, you're looking for tenacity and health as priority. Secondary would be potency and offense. Added to that, crit chance does help. And then, of course, defense, because the better, stronger is, the better she is. 6 tenacity mods are recommended. 4 tenacity and 2 health. If you can get her tenacity over 160%, you can use the 2 health mods. Otherwise, I do suggest the 2 tenacity mods. And again, Nest can be modded 2 ways. I prefer a slow Nest for solos and a fast Nest as an ally and a team. High tenacity Nest is mainly for solo and saves you a team. Zeta priority 100%. She needs that Zeta on her. It just, the taunt alone is so good. And then the health steal obviously is so important because when they're hitting under damage or they get her below her protection. And remember with Nest, guys, there's one key to her. When her turn comes up, as she's getting hit, that bonus protection, and you keep stacking. Once she takes her turn, she loses all that bonus protection, and that next person to go on the enemy team is going to damage her. So if she doesn't have enough health to survive that person's one hit, aka spy, which is another reason why tenacity is nice because you can't last playing debuffs, they can one-shot her. So that's why your health pool has to be thick, 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 thick. All right, like I said, this one ran long. Love you guys. Appreciate you. We are 1 battalion strong. Until next time. And don't forget, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs. I appreciate you guys. Hope you can get that done. And we're hanging out over here doing crazy stuff. A little on the dark side on that channel, but that's where my GACs are done. Till next time.
Shut up and sit down.